Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I'm going to jump right into it, and there's a lot going on this week, a lot to talk about. So I'm going to touch on quite a few different things, and we'll dive a little deeper into the issues as the week goes on. So one of the first things I want to say, though, is again a big thank you to Eric Taylor at the Proprietor's Lodge and the general manager, Candace Lyon. The Proprietors, there was an event there this past Saturday, benefiting disabled veterans and veterans in homelessness. It was a great night. It was hosted by Wayne Soares. Wayne is an actor, a comedian. He does work with the USO. He travels all over the planet entertaining our troops. And Wayne was also with ESPN for a decade or so. But he performed and hosted it. Deborah Toscano was with him, who is also a well-known actor and wonderful vocalist. And then they had a silent auction with some incredible sports memorabilia. It was a really fun night and one of Pittsfield's most absolutely stunning, beautiful venues. It was great. I had such a great time. As always, the food was exceptional. The venue is amazing, right down to the lighting. Every detail at that place is just perfect. So again, a huge thank you to Eric and Candace at the Proprietor's Lodge. I had a great time. It was a great night for a great cause, a very important one. Another thing I want to touch on, and I mentioned this in the last video, is in tomorrow's City Council meeting, Tuesday, December 14th, one of the things that they're expecting to be talked about is this proposed ordinance, which is a ban on snowmobile access to Pontusic Lake through Kirvin Park, which is basically the access point to October Mountain. And what really threw me off, and the whole thing seems odd to me, but also if you have a snowmobile even on your own property, if you're operating it within 300 feet of a neighbor's property line, they want to put a ban on that also. This whole thing seems ridiculous. I don't quite understand where this ban on snowmobiles is coming from. A lot of people are very, very upset about this. There's a petition, I believe, that was put together by Berkshire Snow Seekers Snowmobile Club. It has about 2,500 signatures. I'm going to put that in the comment section of this video also. If you haven't signed it and you're against this proposed ordinance, sign it. It's really important. Snowmobiling is a big part of our winter activities here. It brings in tourism. It's a lot of positive recreation for people. So I'm really, really confused why this sudden war on snowmobiles. So that will be being discussed at tomorrow's City Council meeting. And after that, I will be doing an interview with some of the members from Berkshire Snow Seekers, which is one of our big snowmobile clubs. So I'll be following up with that as the week goes on. Another thing I mentioned that I want to touch on again is the Breen Center has made an announcement that they will be closing the Keenan House for Women. Now, I broke that story publicly, I think a week or so ago. Many of you remember the video. And after that, a few days after that, some of the other local media outlets started covering it. Our local publication, our local paper, did a short piece on it. And one of the things that really grabbed my attention was the Breen Center is saying that due to low attendance in the program and short staffing, that is why that they're going to be closing the Keenan House for Women right now. And the short staffing, I completely get that. I know a lot of people are short-staffed. Almost every industry is short-staffed right now. But some of the people I've talked to, including some attorneys I spoke to, had clients that they were trying to get into that program for some time and were told there was a waiting list. So I don't know if the attendance was low because they didn't have the staffing to accommodate, but it kind of read weird. So I'm going to reach out to the Breen Center and try to get the specifics on that also, because that program is a crucial program. And as many of you know, Berkshire County has a massive problem. Some of the highest stats for opioid overdoses and addiction issues. So that's a big program that is crucial to the success of the community. And very upsetting to hear that that is going to be closed as of January 1st. So I'm going to do some more follow-up on that and see if I can get a little more information on that. But that's one that is worthy of a call to your city councilor, one of our at-large councilors, or city hall, to try to find out what's going on. That's a program I think we need to do everything we can to keep that in operation. So again, I'll dig more into that. I would hope that there's some of the ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan Act funding, that could be used for something like that. So if it's a funding issue, I think there's probably ways we can work around it, and maybe even if they would, to put a fundraiser together, something to keep that program going. But again, I'm going to do a follow-up on that and see what we can find out. There's so many different things being discussed at this upcoming city council meeting, including Kenny Warren, who is the Ward 1 city councilor-elect. Kenny has, one of the petitions he has put forward is, really, he's looking for a lot more transparency on how this $41 million in ARPA funds will be used. And again, you've heard me, I'm sure, the past week or two, pretty upset about the fact that we have two co-managers that will be taking those positions. And that's Gina Armstrong, former director of the Board of Health. She abruptly quit in September, the Board of Health, and now she will be the co-manager for the ARPA funds. And Deanna Rufer, who is the Director of Community Development, will be leaving that post in February, and she will be the second co-manager of the ARPA funds. And they'll both be making somewhere between $50,000 and $54,000 a year for a part-time position each. And that position, the mayor never posted. The city never posted that that was available. She made her picks. That was so upsetting because, again, we hear a lot about diversity and equity, and we never act on it. It just seems to be campaign rhetoric. And those positions should have been made available for everyone to apply. And if Gina and Deanna ended up being the best candidates for the job, so be it. Then they should have been picked. But that was kind of another backroom, behind-the-scenes deal where the mayor decided she was just going to go ahead and pick her friends or pick who she decided, and that was that. I still think a lot of people should be on top of that. We cannot let that just slide away. I don't think you're going to see any other media outlet covering that, just like quite a few other things. So, again, that's another one. Call your counselor. Call one of your at-large counselors. Call City Hall. That's $41 million of money that I just think that the community has the right to know that we have the best people at the helm, and that money is being allocated towards programs so that everyone is in agreement on, or for the most part, the majority. So again, no opportunity for diversity or equity there, so very upsetting. It was very similar to the pick for superintendent, just the same kind of scenario. The behind-the-scenes, prearranged deals, and who you know is how you get somewhere, I guess, in city government, which is another reason why I'll be running in the next election for mayor. And that's a whole nother story. So there's so many things to discuss. School resource officers in the public schools, which overwhelmingly the community is in support of, but again, the schools seem not to be. We're in an era where we had a chunk of our council, quite a few members that seem to be almost the defund the police movement. And a big story that we saw recently over the weekend was our police officers now will be carrying Narcan with them, and which is very important and a great life-saving tool. I just want people to really understand, though, how much we ask of our police officers. I mean, we want them to be there physically to take down the bad people if they need to. We want them to be there to talk somebody out of maybe taking their own life, to prevent crimes, to keep our roads safe. Now we want them to bring back people who are having situations of crisis or overdose. It's a lot that we ask of these officers, and I think the community support, especially from our politicians, needs to be there much stronger. I mean, I just don't understand that whole mentality from not all, but some of our city councilors have been very vocal about their dislike, I guess, for the way our police department is run, or the individual officers. And should there be reform in law enforcement? Sure, but that's from a legislative point of view. And one of our legislators that we rarely even hear from or hear about is Tricia Farley Bouvier. I'm going to try to reach out to Tricia again. She wanted me to send her a personal email. I sent her a message a while ago through Facebook, hoping that she could just give me some kind of heads up or do something with me talking about the bridges, where we stand with all this road construction, roads that have been narrowed down to one lane for a couple of years now, and just at least some updates. So I'm going to try reaching out to Tricia Farley Bouvier again and seeing where we're at with some of that. But she's not really a public representative. You don't see or hear much of her at all until there's an election going on, and then she backs or endorses. She gets involved in that way. But as far as a legislator and being proactive with a lot of this, you don't hear a lot from her. So I'm going to try to reach out to her and see if we can get some information on that. I've heard a lot from people about that, and I've received a lot of messages recently also with Elm Street, what's going on there near Elm, where they extended the sidewalk into the road to narrow that down. And it's causing massive traffic backup. That's another one. I know they said it was for safety. But anyway, I want to get some more information on a lot of that. So that's it for now. I'm going to, in closing, sincere condolences to the family of Dr. John Reynolds. Dr. Reynolds from Pittsfield Veterinary Hospital passed away in a tragic kayaking accident last week. Unfortunately, I was there at the scene from beginning to end. He was one of my neighbors, somebody that I saw on a regular basis. My studio where I do this is very close to where he was, and somebody I ran into for years every morning when he was out on his kayak doing his routine. It was a really, really sad, rough morning. I tried to cover it also and not get too emotional about it, but it was a very emotional morning for me, and it was hard to even, it's still hard to talk about, but he was a great guy, a very important part of the community, amazing with animals. And anyway, he's going to be sadly missed, and very sincere condolences to all his family and friends and co-workers, and he'll be missed. So that is it for now. I'll be continuing with the business tour. A lot of stuff coming up throughout the week. Some of the businesses I'll be featuring are ATW Accounting, Kidding Around Consignment, Currency Coffee, New England Dynamark Security, Car Hardware. There's quite a few that I want to feature. And remember, everybody, shop local, support our local businesses. They support the community in so many ways. They employ our neighbors, our fellow citizens here in Pittsfield. They give to all our causes and charities, and it's crucial to support our local businesses, especially in times like this. So again, for the 100th time, that is it for now. Everyone stay safe, shop local, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.